Welcome along to the form and looking ahead to some really good racing this weekend. We kick off with Friday racing out of Tauranga. We've got good racing coming through from the harness as well. We'll link up with some of the key participants through the weekend. Let's see who's on the show. Heading to Tauranga for Friday racing, and Brendan Popwell will be taking us through the form for this meeting. It's a 10-race card. First race at 26 minutes past midday, and a few ratings, 65 races to end the program. Rating 74 is the feature. BP, what have you found for us for the meeting?
Hey, Aidan. Yeah, look, this is a very good race meeting. I feel as though there's some good maiden races that we can very much centre on, and horses that we could find in some of our Christmas races if all panning out well for them throughout some of these maiden 3-year-old races. And there's one race I'm keen to identify in race number 4 by the name of Pinarello. This is a 3-year-old gelded son of Tavistock out of Zonda and has trialled up really nicely in the Cambridge yellow and black checkers of the Lindsays for James and Wellwood. Really liked his most recent trial where he gathered in the leader and he really put them away in a couple of real big, impressive bounding strides in his trial out of Taupo. So indications are there that this is a nice horse on the rise. He's about $31 in the Derby market, for instance, is Pinarello, and is also nominated for the Herbie Dyke is this runner. So just a runner that they clearly think a lot of, and I'm keen to mark down as a horse to watch on this race meeting.
And especially being the 3-year-olds, they are sort of still emerging at this point in time. So you get a really good line on them through this race. Anything else you found, maybe even like one that you like even better?
Yep, I've gone for my best in race number 5, Aidan, by the name of Orleans Bell. She's a horse that has had 2 race day starts and has been very good in both of them. Pushes up to 1,400 metres. This horse's most recent effort was when presented at Rotorua when running second in a highly rated maiden race. This race, they went quicker than the 74s on the same day over 1,215 metres, and this horse ran the best figures of any maiden galloper on the program, scorching home and breaking 11 seconds for her last 210.97, and did beat home a sub-winner in that race in the Stony one, who finished into 3rd position, who was just as good when hitting the line into 3rd spot, but this horse was better when running into that 2nd spot. Laneway Flirting was the winner of the race, a horse that went on to compete in a stakes race. So I just feel as though the form really does frank nicely around this horse with more distance, so I was happy to make her my best Orleans Bell.
Okay, really big program as well. So a bit of form for you to have got your teeth stuck into, because there's also Tarapa on Saturday, and boy, that's shaping like some sort of meeting, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, the term Super Saturday gets thrown around a lot, doesn't it? And look, this is a race meeting that it's almost bigger than Super, isn't it? I mean, this is a proper race meeting with the addition of the Wakefield and the Captain Cook Stakes. And look, even without those races, I mean, this is a big day for the club and for the region, as you know, Aidan, for covering this race meeting so many times, for the Waikato Times. Like, this is a huge day. And of course, now under the traffic light system, we are going to be able to see some of those locals out on track and enjoying the race day. And now we have that real extra tinge of a Group 1 added into the program, full of depth, extra runners going into the race. I think it really has strengthened the race. Different barrier draws, to Illicit, for instance, was in a really favourable position 7 days ago when the race was going to be held at Trentham. Now she's in a tricky spot with some extra runners in the race. I still think she's a horse to beat, but all of a sudden, I think 7 days ago we were saying how strong the race is. And now that we get the addition of another Group 1 Group 1 winner into the race, it really does set it up for the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about Royal Performance Group 1 winner on the track, and you had in Demonetisation, and Tiptronics, another Group 1 winner who's going into it, Gino Severini, who's been so good, especially through the Hawke's Bay Carnival and Cheval Promoteur. So that adds real depth there. Have you got early thoughts on maybe a couple of other races? I know we'll probably try and grab you before you sort out Tauranga tomorrow, but the Calais Zuzu, for instance, what were your thoughts on the fillies and mares feature?
Look, I really like Show of Roses. I mean, I was big on her leading into that race in the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders that she won, from a tricky gate, and Blossom was able to use her gate speed to be able to get into that position. Of course, she won this race last year as an outsider too, from a bad gate, where on Saturday she has more in her favour because she's drawn barrier number 1. And looking at the race early stages, there doesn't look to be those early attackers that want to be able to come up alongside her and pressure her. And we know how naturally she gets out of the gates, and she just plants herself there. So without having to use as much gas to find the rail position or an outside leader position that she's had to do from awkward barrier draws, McNabb gets that chance to be able to plant her on speed from barrier number 1. So I thought she was one of the horses I was keen to have a bet on. Punters have already reacted to the market price that was put up, where she was at $2.70, and she's already now into $2.40.
Okay, yeah, we'll steer clear of the Wakefield because it looks like a bit of a minefield. But that J-Swap sprint with the couple of Brennan runners at the top of the book, Packing Rockstar, Vigor Winner, you've got Brando in there, Dragon Leap, More Wonder. Geez, that looks like a really good race too.
Doesn't it? I mean, Brando is a horse we were talking about last week as a chance of, being an upsetter in the Group 1. There was money for the horse. Look, the money was coming from the right direction in the end, so you have to respect that. Maybe also there was a part of it that he was at such a big price of $17 compared to where he's been, in his other 10 starts, at $2.50, around that zone. So back to this type of race with OP on, with a good draw, I think there has to be respect for him in the marketplace for Brando, and he's going to be one of the favourite runners. And Dragon Leap, I mean, you're right. I mean, he's a horse that he was creating a lot of momentum building into a race where we hadn't seen him. It was all on what he'd done sort of in his work leading up to that race at Hawke's Bay, and how he was able to perform through other runs. So he was a real mystery runner, but he was a horse that, look, he ran okay, didn't he? I thought Dragon Leap in the Tarzino, with not getting the luck that he needed, and probably the track conditions was what was against him as well. And they've had those niggles with him post that race. He's had an exhibition gallop during the week, sort of last Saturday, should I say, on off-track conditions. If he's anywhere near right, he has to overcome an outside gate, though, and that's the concern for me. But gee, if it is working out for him up front and he can get into that right position where he can boom over the top, you wouldn't be surprised to see him finishing strongly at the end of the race.
And before we let you go, BP, the Cup, of course, the Sky City Hamilton Waikato Cup. The first two of the David Green's horses just both been put aside. I think just a slight injury tinge with Just Amazed. So different dynamic. You got Cheaper Than Divorce, who was third last time, River Run fourth, and then there's a couple of horses who were winning last time out, Laurie and Starry Beale, who look like chances as well. You got an early thought on the Cup?
Look, I've just found it hard to go past Cheaper Than Divorce, really. I mean, she's the horse that comes with the up-and-running form. I just feel as though her most recent run, in behind Just Amaze, looks set up for her. We were talking so much about her leading into that race with more distance and how she's performed in those 2 victories to date. Of course, the Thompson 2 starts ago. And now that Just Amaze is not there, she has to carry the 57.5 kilograms this afternoon on Saturday, as opposed to where she was in the weights at 53. But that was just, down to how the weight scale was compressed, with what we had at the top of the book with Big Mike. But I feel as though she is the one to beat. She does come in with that best form in the race. Outside of her, I think you can give a number of horses chances here. I mean, how do you break that Counties Cup form down? I mean, horses like River Run ran an enormous race, in that Counties Cup. Lowry was a horse that went forward, got it done. Graham Rogerson spoke highly of that horse's prospects going forward into the summer after that victory. Look, Swords Drawn's a horse that can always be competitive in these type of races. And then you've got that CD inclusion of horses like Bonnie Ezra and those type of horses that, that have looked good in their particular Cups races. But really coming back to it, Aidan, I thought Cheaper Than Divorce was going to be the one to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to Saturday and get a chance to be on track with you at Te Rapa as well, BP. But we'll let you go solo with Tauranga. We'll be following your selections and joining your coverage, the first of the program at Tauranga, 26 past midday. Chances for us to turn our attention harness racing now. We've gone to Christchurch to Matthew Cross, who'll be calling for us not only at Addington tonight, but also at Methven on Sunday as well. Matt, a bit of a break to freshen up after what's been a pretty busy November for you. Amped for this one at Addington?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, wasn't it, Aidan, to get through Cup Week? But I think it's important that we all take a bit of a step back every now and then. It can be a grueling industry at times, and having got to know myself a bit better after a couple of Cup Weeks, I think I definitely needed a break this time around. But look, I've got the fire in my belly, ready to rock and roll. Busy weekend coming up, and it's a busy month ahead as well. A lot of travel to look forward to, and getting around hopefully with crowds on the scene with the likes of Nelson, Blenheim, and the Coast Circuit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk Addington. We've got a 10-race card, 9 minutes past 5 start time, and we've put the onus on you to find us a couple of bets. What have you found for us?
I've got a couple for you, Aidan. I think that Mark Purdon and Natalie Rasmussen will have a fairly good night. I'm going to kick it off, though, with Roll Your Own in race number 4. 2,600 metre mobile, I think, really suits this horse. He comes in barrier number 7, Blair Orange on. He should get a nice suck into the race. If they drive him with one run, then I think he'll be finishing over the top of them. So you can take the each way around Roll Your Own in race 4. Race number 5, Pace and Pride, lobs into a really winnable race. 1980 mobile for him, draws the outside at the gate. Mark Purdon will do the driving aboard him. It's only a 9-horse field, but he looks his standout at the ratings. I think he'll be one of the shorter prices on the night. And for some value in race 8, number 3, Spider Moment. I think this horse can return to form in this sort of race. It's a considerable drop back from what he has been racing in recent times. He's a good horse, this, and he's got a good record over the 1980 around the Met. So he might be at a nice each-way price in race 8.
Okay, so 3 to follow for Addington on Friday night here on Trackside as well. Just touch on that Methven meeting. What have we got to look forward to there, Matthew?
Yeah, so we've got the Green Mile for the Trotters and the Pacers. Oscar Bonavini heads around in that. Aidan, he'll be fairly short. And then you've got Henry Hubert, Classy Brigade, taking on It's All About Faith and the Pacers Green Mile. So those are both certainly worth looking forward to on Sunday, depending on what the weather does. We could have a bit of a little bit of a change in how the races might run if we do have that rain over the next couple of days.
Yeah, okay. And obviously not just New Zealand harness racing we want to touch on, because it's Inter-Dominion Grand Final night at Menangle on Saturday. Have you got a thought on the Trotters? We've got Majestic Man and also the Pacers. It's pretty even, although I think there's been two horses that have won all 3 heats in the Pacers series.
Yeah, look, Majestic Man at his best, I think, if he's able to return to form and cop the recent racing, and with the sort of under par effort that he threw in heat number 2, then I think that he can possibly bounce back. Best barrier draw, he's got a great driver on, 3,000 metres will suit him and Anthony, but I'll be cheering him home anyway. Yeah. Look, the Pacers final's interesting now with where King of Swing's drawn on the second row. Stablemate draws barrier 1, Expensive Ego, so I think that Expensive Ego now becomes the horse to beat, but King of Swing, he's one of the better horses in Australasia, and if there's one horse who can overcome a second row barrier in an Inter-Dominion, that's King of Swing.
Absolutely. Yeah, Matt, we look forward to your coverage of Addington tonight, first race at 9 minutes past 5. Thanks for taking us through the form.
No worries, Aidan. Thank you.
Yeah, nice to be joining you on a Friday morning. Do like a couple at Alexandra Park. My best of the night goes around in race number 5. It's in the form of Remember Me. It's a pretty good filly, this. You have to go back 2 starts ago when we saw her at Ashburton in a heat of the Sire Stakes. Really good form race, this one. Obviously, the winner was True Fantasy. Remember Me punching up the inside run second. The horse that runs third was Allegra. It goes on to win. The horse that ran fourth, it goes on to win. The horse that ran fifth, it also has won in the last fortnight. Really strong race. She's a good filly. She's making her Auckland debut. I don't think right-handed will be a problem. Bookmakers haven't got markets out as we record, but race 5, number 5, Remember Me, my best of the night. Main Danger's casino action and better listen. Now, early on in the night, a nice each-way bet goes around in race 3, and it's number 4, 4 Kisses. Like the way this filly's been going in the last couple of weeks. The last start effort was behind Forever a Dancer at Auckland on the 26th of November. Forever a Dancer lined up a week later in a very strong form race behind First Rose and Lady of the Light. End up running third. So this form around this filly, race 3, number 4, 4 Kisses. Again, no fixed odds as we record. I think she's a really nice bet. Those are our 2 for you. Aidan on the weekend. Enjoy your punting.
Hello and welcome along to the Form, and looking ahead to some really good racing this weekend. We kick off with Friday racing out of Tauranga. We've got good racing coming through from the harness as well. We'll link up with some of the key participants through the weekend. Let's see who's on the show.
Andrew, we're going again on the Captain Cook this weekend with Aegon. How did you come through the travel down to Trentham?
Really well, actually. All four horses that went down have actually handled it really well, so that's great. Obviously, it's not ideal, but yeah, I think it was a good trip for them. Obviously costly for the owners, which is very frustrating, but hopefully they can go again this weekend.
Okay, so how does the preparation differ from the training track this week?
I guess we're lucky in that we don't have to go through another long trip. So that helps. Obviously, race meeting on our doorstep, and they've come home, had a quiet canter around yesterday and a gallop this morning.
Okay, what did you ask of them today?
He had a good hit out because he only had the one gallop last week, so we thought he's going to need a good couple of gallops this week, and yeah, he worked over 1,200 metres and did it quite strongly. Okay,
going into this one, the dynamic changes a little bit with the course. How does Te Rāpura suit?
Yeah, hard to know when you've never raced there, and again, it's a very different track when it's rain affected, so the forecast is a little bit patchy, so that's something we don't really know, to be honest. We just have to line up and hope it does work in our favour.
When we saw him last week, he was just glowing. He looked in great order. What about this week? Is he much the same?
Great. I thought his work this morning was very good, so no, couldn't be happier with him.
Okay, you've got the Waikato Cup this weekend as well. Robusta, maybe a little bit disappointing in the Counties Cup. What did you make of that?
Yeah, she was. Don't know what to make of it, to be honest. I thought she was a good each way chance. She was very well weighted, the way it all worked out, and she was very disappointing, but we can't fault her. Hopefully up to the 2,400 metres suits.
One thing about her, she's normally very willing, so you could expect her to bounce back.
Yeah, she's certainly not a horse you'd expect, to just put two bad ones in a row. You'd be very concerned if that happens, and I don't think it will. So hopefully she can draw well and bounce back to her best.
Also, the Wakefield this weekend moves to Te Rāpura as well. We saw you have one in there, potentially two this weekend?
Yeah, maybe two. We'll just nominate, see how it's all going to shape up, and clearly maybe even accept with two or three and see where they draw to. That'll be key. The 1,100 metre start there at Te Rāpura, and yeah, look, I think Wessex is obviously a one start, one win. She's a promising filly, and yeah, she'll be there for sure. Mr Maestro, he won a trial the other day quite nicely at Matamata, so if he drew well, we might take the punt and run him there, but never easy in a stakes race first up.
Roger, Waikato Cup this weekend. We've just seen Cheaper Than Divorce work, and she looked in great order.
Yeah, I thought her work was enormous. Danielle came in and rode her, and she was suitably impressed. I think the mare goes into the race in great order.
You've just worked her on the plough. What did you ask of her this morning?
Like I do with the majority of my stayers, I like them to work over not much short of the distance of the race, but at 3/4 pace, and then roll home. And she's a mare that doesn't take a lot. She's a light frame mare and a clean-winded mare, so that's the last piece of work she'll do, and it's only the second piece of work that she's had since she raced last.
She seems to be building. This seems to be a really nice target for her right now.
Yeah, look, going into the Oaks in March, she was a weak mare, or filly, and that's only 6 months ago or 7 months ago, so she's just going to get better and better. We're going to learn a lot on Saturday, but I think I can see her getting 2 mile, but probably as a 5-year-old.
It's different running them at 2,400 as a 3-year-old to now as an older horse. What sort of changes have you noticed in this preparation?
Look, she's never been a big feeder, but she is feeding constantly this year, whereas last year we were cotton wooling her to get her anywhere. And she's handled the preparation really well.
Okay, what can we expect from her in a Waikato Cup this week?
Look, I think we'll ride her a little bit more conservatively. It just seemed to me that she got to the front last time and wasn't quite certain, got a bit lost perhaps, so she might be better with something to chase.
Two Illicit starting to charge after them here. Time's ticking, gathered up over on the outside by Two Illicit. That's as soft as you like. Wow, class here.
First talk to Illicit. Obviously she's had a trip away to Trentham. How'd she cope?
Yeah, look, we got her home on Saturday afternoon, and she's a pretty seasoned traveller, although it has been her Achilles heel the whole life that she sweats a lot. We've changed things around a bit with her travel, and she probably handled this trip better than most, but no, I wouldn't have been doing as much with her this morning had she not travelled well and had I not been happy with her. She ran 1,400 metres, tracking a mate most of the way and picked it up at the 700, and they just worked in nicely. She's pretty ready. It was just maintenance work.
I know you were pretty happy going into last weekend. This weekend much the same?
Yeah, you hope we get a similar draw and a track that's not too bad. I see there's a bit of forecast rain, but hopefully we get things play our way, and it'll be a similar field, although I see there are a couple of extras coming into it. But yeah, you can only be happy with your own horse.
Let's talk Concert Hall now. Obviously she was a Group 1 winner of the Bell Classic last year. I'm picking that's the aim again, but what are you wanting from her dress for her whistle here?
Look, I've been happy with her all preparation, and she's in grand order again. Lethiness takes the ride, and as I say, whatever she does on Saturday, she'll be better when she goes 2,000 metres at Boxing Day.
Last congrats for the Group 3 here at home last weekend. Just tell us about Dark Destroyer. How's he come through the race?
Yeah, thanks, Hayden. No, look, he's come through it really well. Andrew and I are delighted with the way he's progressed. Looking at him Monday morning, you wouldn't have known he's actually had a race. So he's got a pretty tough constitution, the horse, and delighted for the owners, David and Diane Archer. So great result.
When will we see him next?
Look, we still have to work that out with David, and we left a message with him this morning. More than likely, we would think it would be the Guineas on New Year's Day, but we just got to wait for confirmation.
Okay, Carmen Lyon was a late scratching out of that race, so when will we see her next?
Look, she's just going to run a grade race this weekend at Te Rapa, 65, 1,400 metres. We just thought that she'd only had the one run, and with the track conditions being as testing as what they turned out to be, we thought it probably wasn't the best move with her. So we're going to run on a grade race, and if she goes well enough on that, then we'd head to Ellerslie. Okay, yeah, obviously the feature runner for the weekend, Dragon Leap, goes around in the J-Swap Contracting Stakes at Group 3. How's he prepared for this one? Yeah, no, look, the team's really pleased with him. I know he's had a very light racing preparation since he was a 3-year-old, but finally now he's sound. His work has been very good, and we think he's forward enough to give a good account of himself. What have you done in preparation for this one? Look, he's a pretty clean-winded horse. We haven't trialled him. Of course, he hasn't raced since the first day of Hawke's Bay. He came for a trip over here on Saturday. He came to Matamata, and he galloped in between races, and he showed that he's relatively forward, and he had a nice head out here on Tuesday morning. And I think for a 1,400, he's as forward as what we could have him, considering the length between runs. Yeah, the exhibition galloper was what you were after? Yeah, look, he wasn't overtaxed. He did run a bit of time, but he could probably run a little bit quicker, but it was a nice hit out, and he had a similar hit out here this morning. So, it's as much as what we can do with him without actually, causing any damage to him, but we're certainly happy with the way he's prepared. Going into a Group 3, he's going to come in with a nice light weight, 55 at the absolute most. It'll be a nice sort of race for him. Yeah, exactly. He's a big, strong horse, and 55 kilos. Obviously there's a few in there with some form and higher up in the handicap, so it's certainly not going to be a walk in the park, but it's a pretty luxurious weight for a horse like him. Yeah, and he's going well enough to be really competitive. Yeah, I think he is. Andrew and I might be a bit biased. We've always liked the horse, and we've always believed in him, and he's still got to get out there and do it at the highest level, but we certainly think that he'll run well. Tony River run a really good run in the Counties Cup last time out. Has he done since then?
Yeah, look, he's a tough, honest stayer. He mightn't be up to the best of them, but obviously all his runs this preparation have been very genuine. As you say, his Counties Cup running, he ran to a bit of traffic on the corner, but closed it off really well to run fourth. So, look, any given the ground's going to be a big bonus for him, but we thought we'd give him a chance. Probably his last run this prep in the Waikato Cup on Saturday.
How's his preparation been?
Yeah, look, he's obviously, he's a very fit racehorse now. He's pretty deep into his preparation, but he's holding together really well, and couldn't be happy with him heading into Saturday. He probably just needs to find a length or two to be getting close to winning it.
Training-wise, did he work today?
Worked on Monday actually, just worked over a mile here on the poly track, and worked up really well. So, as I said, he's pretty deep into his prep. Fitness isn't going to be an issue come Saturday.
Okay, what do you do with him for the rest of the week?
Look, he won't do much. We'll just do a bit of evens on Thursday, and just keep him ticking over.
Okay, what can we expect from him? Taking into account what he did at Te Rapa last time.
Look, I'm not sure how strong the race is going to be. Obviously cheaper than Divorce. She's clearly going to be the one to beat, but he'll get in on the minimum, and look, he'll get back as per usual. And if he can get a time to the race, come to the corner, I'm sure he'll be finishing it off strongly and won't be far away from the placings.
Okay, the Group 3 J-Spot contractors sprint this weekend as well. A couple of runners there. Let's talk them both. Providence Provides. Have you had a beat like that last time?
No, it was a pretty bad beat. Definitely haven't had one do that before, and obviously she's a very promising mare, lightly raced, and it mightn't have been the strongest race down at Christchurch, but obviously she was going to win by a pretty big margin if things had gone right that day. So she's had a little freshen up. She worked really well this morning, and I think she'll be hard to beat off a lightweight on Saturday.
Has she come back from what was basically a campaign down south, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. She obviously came a long way in a short time, and she's come back in great order. She had a week in the paddock afterwards, and she looks fantastic, so can't fault her at all.
It is a step up again this weekend. What can you expect from her?
Yeah, it is a step up again, but on a lightweight, she'll roll forward as she usually does, and if there's not too much pressure up front, I think she'll be very hard to run down again.
Okay, yeah, Poisonga also headed to that race. So what did you make of the last run?
Yeah, really happy. She was fresh up after a little bit of an injury and forced layoff, so she was in need of the run. Probably just peaked the last 100 metres, but good solid performance on a track that was pretty hard to make up ground on as well. Otaki last start, so she'll strip a lot fitter on Saturday. Again, she'll get on a lightweight, and if she gets a nice soft trip just in behind the speed, she'll be right in the finish.
Undoubted class about her though, isn't there? And she could well measure up in it.
Yeah, look, definitely. She's if she strips fit enough on Saturday, second up this prep, then she's definitely got the ability in the class to win a race like that.
Are you leaning one way or the other between the pair of them?
Oh, look, it's a little bit difficult. One's young and up and coming, and one's sort of been at that level for a little while. But I do like Providence Provides. I think she's a really progressive mare going forward.
Okay, where will we see both of these two next?
Look, we'll just get through Saturday. Obviously, there's a number of races coming up that are going to be suitable for them, so we'll just take it one race at a time at the moment.
So plenty to look forward to this weekend. Let's see who are the best bets for Friday racing here on.
Forget about the stoplight, no time for second place. Pedal to the metal, it's the thrill of the chase. I'll find a way to win the race.
So a couple to follow through Friday racing as well. What a day in store as well for Saturday, with the 3 meetings out of Te Rapa, Awapuni and Invercargill. And tomorrow's edition of The Form will be brought to you by Emily Boston, so tune in to Trackside tomorrow morning as well. I'll be on track at Te Rapa along with Brendan Popwell. Can't wait to get stuck into what is a massive day of racing, including that Group 1 feature, the Ridges Wellington Captain Cook Stakes. We'll see you then, but tune in to The Form tomorrow for today's Friday edition. Good afternoon.